Woke bananas when the woke bananas. Oklahoma. Great play. I should have seen Oklahoma. How have I never seen Oklahoma? Never seen it. That's probably okay.
3, 2, 1, bro.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Murphy. I am one half of the brothers Murph, and this is Board Game. Come on, hurry up. Hurry up. Come on. Just do it. Just say it. Say the title. Say the title. Come on. Come on. Highlight. Lit. Board Game Highlight is a weekly segment where Mike or I take a game off our shelf behind us here and we highlight it for you. What highlight means is that we take the shelf and we open it up here for you and we really get into why it is we love the game and why it's on the shelf here behind us. And in this week, we are talking about Smallworld by Days of Wonder. Smallworld is a wonderful, wonderful game by some guy, Philip Kjartz. We're gonna go with that. But this is a wonderful area control game where it's set in a really nice fantasy world where kind of like every single fantasy thing is represented. There's like orcs and there's elves and dwarves and all these different kinds of things. And the problem is the world is just so small because it's Smallworld. And there's just not enough room for everybody. And so it's an area control game where you're just vying for position, trying to control as much of the land as humanly possible, and you get points for areas that you control. It's a very, very straightforward area control game in that sense, but it's got a lot more going on that I really, really love. So let's get it down to the table. Let's open this bad boy up and talk about why I love it so much. Smallworld. This is Big World, but this is Smallworld. Get it? So one thing I love about it is the box. It's very, very pretty. It's very vibrant. I like the box cover here. I love the representation of the game on the box cover here because you see this little patch of land and all the different races that are in the game. The orcs and the dwarves and the Amazons and the sorcerers and stuff. They're all just on here and they're just pushing each other off and stuff, and everyone's just falling off of the kind of sky island apparently and all this kind of stuff. I just love that. I love that the box perfectly shows you what the game is gonna be and like how it's all more or less gonna play out. So this is the general setup for the game. This is a general setup for a two-player game. One thing that I absolutely love about this game is there is a different board for every player count. On the back side of this, there's a 3-player board. Here we have a 4-player board, and then here we have a 5-player board. I love when area control games do this. When an area control game gives me a different board for every single player count, I'm all like, because you need that. There are very, very few area control games where, like, if you start scaling the amount of players but don't scale the board, that it works just fine. It's tough to do, and it makes sense because it's just like, if you have less people but the same amount of areas, it's just not as crowded. It's not as contentious. It's not as many people like just going into each other like that. And so you really kind of need a new board. And this was the first area control game I played that did that. And right away, I was just like, whoa, that's really nice. So that alone gives it a big thumb up from me. I also just love the board. I love how the areas are very clearly defined by these big white borders. And then on top of that, all the different landscapes are very, very different. You have mountains and forests and like plains and farms and swamps. And it's very, very clear. It's very, very easy. And on top of that, it's just aesthetically pleasing. I just really, really like the way the boards look. So as I've said in the gameplay, one of my favorite things about this game is the different races and the different abilities. It's not just a straight area control game where it's me versus Joe Schmo and we're just fighting. It's all dice roll and we're just fighting. Something like Risk, where there's not really any difference in the player powers, where it's just roll and die, trying to strategically place yourself in a place to give you the best chance of world domination. This game isn't like that. This game is much, much lighter, much, much quicker. The way I usually describe this game is Risk, but good. Sorry to all my Risk people. I don't like Risk. It's too long. It's too boring. This game feels similar in terms of just like pushing your way across a continent, but it doesn't have all that just bogged down dice rolling luck fest. It's just, you know, getting inside of Australia and just building up and then going through Asia and all that kind of stuff. One thing I like about this game is you can't turtle. You cannot turtle in this game. If you don't know what turtling is just putting all of your troops in one area and just building up and making yourself so strong in one area that no one, no matter what, could ever take you out of that area. But in this game, you have to spread out, because at the end of each of your turns, you're going to get 1 point for every area that you control. You can also get more points depending on the different combination of races and or abilities, but nonetheless, the base of the game is if you have more control, you get more points. So you have to spread out, you have to be aggressive, you have to push, because if you don't, you're not getting any points and you're not going to win. This is an area control game, as I've said multiple times, and there's one thing you know about Mike and I, you know that we're not big conflict gamers. We're not really into games with tons and tons of conflict. It's just not our way. We're too much of teddy bears for that. I love multiplayer solitaire games where everyone's kind of doing their own thing and you're just trying to outplay each other. Love those kinds of games. That's my jam. So area control games for me personally are kind of hit and miss because I don't like tons and tons of conflicts. And area control games by their nature are conflict heavy. So some area control games I love, some I don't. It kind of is a mixed bag for me, but this is one I love. And one of the main reasons why this is one I love is because it never feels personal. When you go running through the jungle and the plains and you're chopping elves' heads off and stuff like that, and you're like, I am Troll, hear me roar. Trolls are opera singers in my world. I'm a troll in his hole and no one understands me. Take a look into my heart and you'll see. But it doesn't feel personal. It doesn't feel like you're doing it to get at someone. It doesn't feel like you're ganging up on someone. You're just like, Meredith, I'm not fighting you because I hate you. I'm not fighting you because I want to get you or make sure you lose. I need to go into this area because the world is too damn small. Get it? And as silly as that sounds, it really does make a difference. You're just doing it because you have to, because the world's too freaking small and I'm the Amazons and I need to spread out. One thing I adore about this game is the ease of accessibility it has. For an area control game, the area control and the fighting is very, very simple. All you gotta do is count the tiles. Every faction is represented by these different tiles, which have the picture of the faction. In this case, these are, big old orcs and stuff like that. And these are your troops. You get a certain amount of troop based off your race and then also the ability that goes along with it. And that's what you have to use during the game. If the region is empty, like this spot or this spot or this spot, and it has no tiles in it, it's just 2 tiles of yours to conquer that. But what if there's other tiles in there? What if there are some of the Lost Tribe? What if there are other factions? What if there's things like mountains? Well, it's very, very simple. It's 2 to conquer an empty region, and then it's 1 troop more for every tile already in that region. So what that means is this situation where I have 1 wizard in here, it would be 2 for the region plus 1 more because there's 1 wizard tile in there. So it would take 3 to conquer this region. If I was trying to conquer this region right here, which has a mountain inside of it and a wizard up on top of that mountain, it would be 2 for the region plus 1 more for the mountain tile, plus 1 more for the wizard tile, so it would take a total of 4. It's so easy to calculate how much it takes to take over a spot. It's just 2 plus tiles. The kinds of tiles don't matter. If it's biovacs, it's these fortified towers, if it's these troll layers, if it's mountains, none of it matters. It's just tiles. It's not like, this tower is a dwarven tower. Dwarves are really, really good at building stuff. Is it a stone tower or is it a metal tower? Because they're both really good with stone and really, really good with metal. Stone, it's stone. Okay, stone's going to be a +3 modifier because it's stone and it's dwarves. If it was stone with elves, it'd actually be a -2 modifier because elves like trees more so than stone. Oh, but you're fighting elves and forests? Okay, well then that's going to be a +4 modifier. But even then, that's not the thing I love most about this game. The thing that I absolutely adore about this game is this stuff right here. As I've said a few times throughout this video, there are races and there are different abilities. These big pieces right here are races, and then these little things right here are abilities. As you can see, they go together very, very nicely. They fit together in a very satisfying way. And basically what you do in the game is you shuffle up all the races and shuffle up all the abilities, and then you bring them out to make these random pairings. And that makes the game so amazing because every race has a different ability, something they're good at, something they do, something that they get extra points for. And then every ability has something it does, something it's really good at, something it gets extra points for. And then you put them together in a random way, and it makes every single game different because you never know the combination of races and abilities you're going to get, and you never know what order they're going to come out in. And then these tiles over here also have to go along with it. If you are playing something like the trolls, you can see you get your little troll holes here, and your little troll things right here count as extra defense. This spot is much, much harder to oust than all the other spots on there, so people might avoid you because of the fact that you are inside just barricading your little troll hole like, ah, leave me alone, I don't like you. The skeletons here are interesting because for every 2 troops that you kill as a skeleton, you're gonna get another skeleton. So you can get more and more troops as you go along because as you're killing other people's troops, they turn into skeletons, and then you can get them back. So you can constantly bolster yourself up and get more and more and more and really spread out. And you have something like the halflings who have these special little tiles right here, which are little hobbit holes. And this essentially means you can start anywhere on the board. Usually you have to start on one of the edges, but the halflings don't. They get to put their hobbit hole wherever they want, and then they can start spreading out from there, which is a really interesting tactic to just pop up in the middle of an area and be like, hey, piss off! And there are a ton of different races, and that's just the races themselves. That's not all of these abilities. Like the hill here. If you are in this situation, you are hill skeletons, because skeletons like pretty views too. That means you're going to get 1 extra point each turn for every hill you control. And as you can see, there are a ton of different abilities, and again, you never know what they're going to get paired up with. Are you going to have swamp rat men? Are you going to have flying wizards? Who knows? And that's so much of the fun of the game, is just reacting and changing all of your strategies based on what combination of weird crap comes out on this side of the board. But now we're going to get into the thing I love most in this game, and that is something called going into decline. You have a whole bunch of different fantasy races here, but the thing is, you get to choose multiple of them throughout the game. How many you choose is ultimately up to you, but throughout the game, you can constantly change out different races. If the race or the combination you have is not working for you, you can switch it out. So you can see here is I have these mounted Amazons right here, and I have spread out my Amazon to the whole left side of this board. This whole left side is mine right now. But darn, you know what? I'm at my limit. I've spread out as much as I possibly can. I only have so many troops, so you can only spread so far. So once you spread all the way out in the game, what do? Well, what you do is you go into decline. What that means is you take all the troops that you have on the board. If you have more than 1 in a single spot, you bring them down to having only 1 in a single spot, and then you flip them all over to their gray side. You can see the difference in the colors right here. And then this specific race is going into decline. They are going extinct. They're essentially slowly collapsing, and it makes it much, much easier for other people to conquer them. And now I, as the in decline Amazons, can't do anything with them. I can't move them. Forgot that one. I can't move them. I can't fight with them. I can't do anything. They just sit there. But they do still give me points for areas that they control. But another person could come and wipe them out pretty easily. But if no one does, I still get points for this area that I control. So going into decline isn't all bad because you still get those points. And going into decline is your entire turn. You can't do anything else. You flip over all your stuff and that's it. So you're essentially kind of losing a turn, which does suck. But on your next turn, you get to choose a new race with an ability, and you get to bring it over here, get all those troops, and then you get to come back on the board with a whole new faction, rear and ready to go. And that to me is so freaking cool. I love that. I love the fact that halfway through the game, or even a third of the way through the game, you can just switch out your whole faction. You can just go, you know what? The giants aren't working for me. Boom, I'm bringing in some skeletons. I love that. I think that makes it so interesting. And going into decline is in my opinion, the biggest strategic point of the game. Knowing when to do it, really feeling it like, oh man, do I have one more turns with the human? Can I get one more turn? Is it more beneficial for me to go into decline now and then get a new faction? Or should I get one more turn, get some more points, and then go into decline? And those kind of decisions are really excruciating. They're really tough to do because when you go into decline, that's your entire turn. And it also makes your faction really weak and really easy to take out. There's not very many games that allow you to do something like that. Halfway through some other area control game or halfway through this game, you can't just be like, I'm just gonna change factions, screw it. But this one you can, and that's super cool. And there are times where I will have a faction for one turn. I will start off with a faction, spread out in one turn, and then the next turn go into decline, and then immediately pick someone new. There are sometimes I'll keep one faction for an entire game, and there's other times where I'm switching out 3, 4, 5 factions in a game. And I think that is so cool. And that is one of the main things that make this game so good. There is so much variety. There's so much strategy. There's so much of, oh, maybe I can do this, and oh, then I can do that, and then, oh, I'm going to get these guys, and then I'm going to be coming in this way, and I can come in north. But this game is just a win-win-win for me and Mike. It's got the art. It's got the look. It's got the theme. It's got the variability. It's got the replayability. It's got an area control game that doesn't feel mean, doesn't feel personal. It's just got everything we want in a lighter area control game like this. And that's one of the main reasons why we love it so much. So let me know down in the comments below whether or not you feel the same way about Smallworld as I do. And please always remember to like and share this video. We do one of these board game highlights every single week. And please also make sure in the comments, let us know what game you want us to highlight next. We got a bunch of games and we want to talk about all of them. So until next time, you've been checking out Smallworld with me here on Board Game Highlight. Have a good one. If you like this video so much, then you should go and click subscribe. And if you want to play some awesome games, then baby, you should check Restoration Games. Oh yeah, and this game. This game sucks.